Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another YouTube reaction. It's me, Anthony Carrier, and I mean, obviously you, but welcome back, guys. Today we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna react to a video. I've never seen it before, but the content creator that does it, they make some pretty good stuff. So I figured, why not? So y'all join me and we can check this out together.
In 2022, nearly half of Americans expected a civil war in the next.
This is horrible, guys. So I'm so out of practice. Bear with me. The video is called "The Internet is Worse Than Ever Now What," and it's by, I can't pronounce. It's like Kurzek. Is this original link's gonna be down in the description. Hey, give me some slack, cut me some slack, because I don't think you guys can pronounce it correctly too. Let me know in the comments.
Next few years, 1 in 5 now believes political violence is justified. And it's not just the US, but around the world, people increasingly see themselves as part of opposing teams. There are many different reasons for this, but one gets blamed a lot: social media.
This is so true. I'm not sure it's true objectively, but subjectively it's true. I'm getting crazy text. Sorry. But subjectively it's true. I mean, hell, dinner tables, workplaces, just plain my team versus their team, political discourse. Holy fuck! I'm texting. Let me see who this is. I'm gonna edit this out. Oh my god. Yeah, it's my son's high school. But anyways, they always say don't mix two things or talk about two things, religion and politics. I tend to ignore such warnings because I like a little spice to my life. But yeah, the echo chambers that social media encourages, I think has increased the tension and the political divides in not only just our country, but around the world.
Social media divides us, makes us more extreme and less empathetic. It riles us up or sucks us into doom scrolling, making us stressed and depressed. It feels like we need to touch grass and escape to the real world. New research shows.
How old is that saying, touch grass? Because I'm starting to hear it a lot more. And as you can tell by the grays in your boy's beard, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I'm not up on all the new internet lingo. But they are right about the doom scrolling. And sometimes when you're at home chilling and you're just scrolling through your feeds and just seeing just horrible shit after horrible shit, it can weigh on you.
That we might have largely misinterpreted why this is the case. It turns out that the social media internet may uniquely undermine the way our brains work, but not in the way you think. The myth of the filter bubble. You've probably heard about online filter bubbles. Algorithms give you exactly what you want or what they think you want. You only see information that shows you opinions that agree with yours, while dissenting opinions or information are filtered out.
Maybe I was wrong, because this sounds like an echo chamber.
Since you only see content close to your worldview, more extreme and toxic opinions suddenly seem less extreme. You're trapped in a radicalizing filter bubble, and your view of the world becomes narrower and more extreme. But is that true? Extreme filter bubbles seem to be rather rare. Studies that investigated what people actually look at online or are shown by search engines found little evidence that you're ideologically isolated. It's the exact opposite. Online, you are constantly confronted with opinions and worldviews that are not your own. It turns out that the place where you are the most ideologically isolated is your real life, in the real world, with real people.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, I always heard of the maybe you guys have heard of it too, where your personality is a combination of the closest 8 people around you. If you take all those people and mix them together, you're somewhere in the middle. Of course, I'm not a sociologist or psychologist or psychiatrist or one of those S words. Wait a minute. One of them starts with a P. Who knows? But anyways, I'm not one of those. I'm a mechanic. So maybe I'm wrong.
Your real-world interactions with your friends, family, colleagues and neighbors are much less diverse than your online bubble. The filter bubble exists in your real life, not online. Okay, wait. Online filter bubbles have been the prevailing explanation as to why we've all started hating each other more over the last 2 decades. If that's not the case, shouldn't the internet open our minds and make us more empathetic with each other?
For the record, there are very few people in the history of my life that I ever actually hated.
Unfortunately, your brain is stupid. Your brain is stupid. Human brains didn't evolve to understand the true nature of reality, but to navigate and...
Your brain is stupid. I want a t-shirt that says that.
maintain social structures. Our ancestors desperately needed each other to survive, so our brains had to make sure we cooperated. That's why social isolation or exclusion feels so horrible, because it was actually life-threatening. A tribe that worked together survived. A divided tribe died. The way communities worked for thousands of years is that, sure, you may have disliked a neighbor, but because you lived close to each other, you also rooted for the same sports club or saw them at church. You both thought that the people from the other village were idiots. Being physically close made you
Yeah. We're tribalist. Or is it tribalism? I think in the context that I was trying to use that word, we are tribal. Ooh, that's it. We're tribal. Look at me trying to be smart and sounding dumb.
familiar and created similarities that bridge the gap of different worldviews so you didn't murder each other. And your worldview was probably not that different in the first place because it was formed by the same local culture. When our brains evolved, this was enough. Whoever was around was similar to us. We liked what was similar to us. This kept us aligned enough to work together despite our differences. As humanity moved on from small tribes to towns and cities, from chiefdoms to kingdoms to nations, our brains and our...
Damn, I'm getting so many texts, it's crazy. Hey, so I just watching that, I guess it's validating because I don't eat fish. I think fish is gross. But that wasn't always the case. When I was a kid, I ate fish all the time, mostly because my parents made me and I didn't really have a choice, but also because my grandfather was really big into fish. Grandfather, he didn't pass away then, but I just stopped. As I turned to a teen, I wasn't around my grandfather a lot. But one of the nice young ladies that I ended up dating couldn't stand fish. And then I just kind of grew up away from it to where I didn't eat it enough to where I can taste fish oil or the fishy taste. And it's weird when people that eat fish all the time, like they'll even tell you like, hey, try this fish. It doesn't have that much fishy taste to it. And you eat it and it still tastes like fish. Or they even say, hey, eat this fish. It doesn't have a fish oil gland in it. Maybe it doesn't, but psychologically I can still taste it and I'm just not a fan of it. That and seaweed. Seaweed is gross. But I can't eat shellfish like crabs and lobster. Probably because they're just sea roaches. And I guess sea roaches are good.
Our communities had to adapt to more diverse sets of neighbors. We began to meet on the town square or in universities where we argued and screamed at each other. But in the grand scheme of things, communities were still relatively isolated, we were still pretty similar and aligned with the people around us. Conflict and disagreement are not a bad thing per se. Tension over how we should live can create new and wonderful things. Our values, norms, and taboos are always evolving, and whatever we think is normal today will not be normal in the future. But we also need social glue to hold our societies together because our brains don't care about
Your boy went as a washing machine for Halloween.
the meta level of humanity, but about being safe in a tribe. Until about 20 years ago, we did something truly new that hit our brains like a freight train: the social media internet, the digital town square. Don't you dare disagree with me. Social sorting. In a nutshell, our brains are not able to process the amount of disagreement we encounter on the social internet. The very mechanisms that made it possible for our ancestors to work together in the first place are derailed in ways we were not prepared for. Whether you want it to or not, your brain sorts people by worldviews and opinions into teams. This is not simply tribalism, it goes further. Researchers have called this process social sorting. On the digital town square, you encounter people that express opinions or share information that clash with your worldview. But unlike your neighbor, they don't root for your local sports club. You're missing the local social glue your brain needs to align with them.
So, I mean, that makes sense. Curious, like, what are your, write in the comments, what are your your biggest disagreements that, like, you just won't budge on, you know? Like, I get along with everyone. But there are some things I won't budge on. Racism, for one. I'm not one that throws the race card, but I do know that there are still some racism, or I shouldn't say some, there are some races that still are around. And it's not just in the South. There are races in the North. Hell, colorism is just crazy. I'm learning that in Mexico, there's rampant colorism. Like, they look down upon dark-skinned Mexicans. For the longest, I didn't even know there's a such thing as fair-skinned Mexicans. But I guess they were all in Mexico living the good life, while the dark-skins were trying to escape and come to America. Yeah, let me know in the comments. What's the biggest thing that you disagree with but won't budge on?
For your brain, the disagreement between yourself and them becomes a central part of their identity. And this makes it less likely that you will seriously consider their position or opinion in the future. If you hear bad things about them, your brain is much more likely to believe it uncritically. On the flip side, there are people who share your worldview and are maybe even more similar to you than many people in your real life, which makes your brain like them a lot and kind of hyper-align with them. People who think like you are probably good people because you're a good person and whatever social group you belong to is good. So your brain is more likely to believe their opinions. If you hear bad things about them, your brain is much more likely to dismiss it uncritically. The engagement-driven social internet makes it worse because it wants to keep you online as long as possible. And the most engaging emotion is, unfortunately, anger. The more angry you get, the more likely you are to share and engage.
This is so true. I tell you what, there have been so many times where I see something that somebody just wrote that's just completely devoid of fact, insensitive or whatever, and in my youth, my younger self would flame them. I'd get on and I'd write a freaking thesis paper telling them how wrong they are, and I called myself a purveyor of fact, fighting one piece of misinformation at a time, taking up the crusade. But as I've grown, I'm just so, I won't say over it, because the urge still exists. Sometimes I'll start writing, and then in my mind I'll think, this isn't going to change this person's mind. This is just a waste of my time. This is me virtue signaling in a way. And so I'll just delete it and then keep scrolling or just put down my phone. which is probably the more healthy thing to do.
And this leads to social media amplifying the most extreme and controversial opinions. It optimizes not only to show us disagreement, but the worst disagreement possible. And because your stupid brain is sorting people into teams, whatever the worst opinions are, it assigns the same opinions to everybody on the other team. What's striking and new about online polarization is that all the aspects.
Pineapple pizza. Didn't know that would be such a tinderbox for argument. I can remember a time in my life where there wasn't much pineapple pizza. And then it just popped out of nowhere. And I thought everyone liked it. Or if you didn't like it, you just didn't eat it. It's that simple. And it wasn't until my last Korea tour when someone was just, which was back in 2017, by the way, someone was just like, pineapple pizza, gross. It's the worst thing ever. Pineapples don't belong on pizza. It's gross. Throw it all out. Burn it with fire. And I just wasn't prepared for such raw emotion to pop out because of a pizza topping. There are way worse pizza toppings than pineapple. Broccoli, not a good pizza topping. I'll eat broccoli with cheese. But broccoli on pizza, not a fan. Not a fan of onions on pizza. I'll eat it because I'm a grown up and I don't have to like everything I eat. But I'm also grown up enough to just not eat it. You know what I mean? That was confusing. How can I break that down? Because that is kind of confusing what I just said. So as a grown up, if I'm starving and someone, or not even if I'm starving, if I go to someone's house and they're just being kind and all they have is pizza with onions, I could pick the onions off, or I could just eat it. And I mean, it's not gonna make me throw up or nothing. Just not a fan of it per se. It's kind of like the Cleveland Browns. I don't hate the Cleveland Browns, just not a fan of their team. If they're on TV and I have no other football to watch, I can watch the Browns. But if I have a choice, I'm definitely not watching the Browns. So that's how I feel about onions. And I thought people would be able to feel that way about pineapple. But no. I'm pretty sure some people, I'm not, when I say pretty sure, I'm not pretty sure. It's a lie. But anyways, I guess that's a team, the non-pineapple on pizza team, and people are willing to defend it to death. But anyways, back to the video.
Of our lives that make us individuals, our lifestyle choices, the comedians or shows we watch, our religion, sense of fashion and so on are condensed, making it seem that they're parts of opposing and mutually exclusive identities. This simplifies and distorts disagreements about how we should run society so much that it often seems as if the people on the other team are actively, willfully making the world worse. That they're almost evil beyond convincing with rationality, facts or civil discussion. While you are of course on the correct team, it may be hard to process that you may seem like that to people on the other team. On a societal level, this is dissolving the social glue that's the foundation of our democracies. If we think our neighbors are evil, how can we live together? This is especially bad in the US, where the two-party system makes it extra easy to think of people in terms of teams. Negative opinion about the other party has reached record highs.
Well, I could see why. I mean, there's, for one, so many people's identities are wrapped around their political affiliation. So if you attack their political affiliation, they feel as though it's a personal attack. That's one. Two, the parties are really good at running on hot button topics. Is that the correct term to use? Hot button topics. Yes, I think it is. It might not be, but who cares? Like abortion, you know? on one side, you have people that are like, I'm not saying I want to get a abortion every weekend. I would just like the ability to choose what to do with my body. And on the other side, I mean, one side you have choice, freedom, pro-choice. The other side you have pro-life and babies. And seeing the other side as baby killers and murderers or birderers. I can't say the word. Anyways. So you can see how that's such a clash point between the two of them. Back to the video.
Okay, is there something we can learn from this? Is there something we can do? Something more positive, opinion part. In the end, it's important to be aware of what social media does to your brain. It's easier to change yourself than to change the world, so you can self-examine why you believe the things you believe and whether you dismiss or believe information based on who the person is who is stating that information.
All right, I like that. Always right, Cap. I'm not saying that I'm always right, but I'm right a lot, except for when I'm wrong. The way I do that is I am okay with being wrong. I'm so okay with being wrong that when someone proves me wrong, I go, you're right, I'm wrong. It was very simple. It didn't take me sacrificing any kids or anything for me to do that. It's simple. But another way I keep myself on track is if I don't know something, it's okay to say I don't know. I mean, in the case of religion, you could just say I don't know. A lot of people that are religious, if that's you, I'm sorry, make the claims that scientists are always saying that, you know, they know this stuff. Now, with science, from what I understand, it's okay to say I don't know. What came before the Big Bang? They don't know. They even say they might not ever know. It's okay. They don't insert something. They might hypothesize about something, but that hypothesis they try to do, at least try to investigate or come up with some type of evidence or something to back their claims before it can really move on to a theory. And then even when it's a theory, it's got to withstand rigorous peer reviews and basically a bunch of people trying to poke holes in it for it to be accepted as science fact. I could be wrong, but I got that from Neil deGrasse Tyson. He seems to be right sometimes, at least sometimes. Back to the video.
The internet comes with a lot of ups and downs, and just like we had to adapt from living in small tribes to living in cities, we need to adapt to the information age where we have access to billions of people. Evolution is too slow, so we need to find models that work with what our brains are able to tolerate. One model that seemed to work well was the pre-social media internet old people might remember: bulletin boards, forums, blogs. The main difference to today was twofold. For one, there were no algorithms fighting to keep you online at any cost. At
I'm one of those old people.
some point, you were done with the internet for the day, as mind-blowing as this may sound. But more importantly, the old internet was very fractured, split into thousands of different communities, like small villages gathering around shared beliefs and interests. These villages were separated from each other by digital rivers or mountains. These communities worked because they mirrored real life much more than social media. Each village had its own culture and set of rules. Maybe one community was into rough humor and soft moderation, another had strict rules and banned easily. If you didn't play by the village rules, you'd be banned, or you could just go and move to another village that suited you better. So instead of all of us gathering in one place, overwhelming our brains at a town square that in the end just leads us to going insane, one solution to achieve less social sorting may be extremely simple. Go back to smaller online communities.
So these smaller online communities, I think they kind of exist within the larger freaking social media apparatuses. I just made that word. It's not a made up word, but I just put it in there because it sounded cool. So, I'm on Facebook. Yeah, look me up. I'm on Facebook. I probably won't accept your friend request, but I'm on Facebook, and I can't have like a crazy online persona. Like, there's just things I just can't post because guess what? One of my jobs, the people's public opinion about me really impacts if I make money or not. I haven't been making money, so obviously I haven't been doing good at that. But with that, what I've decided to do is if there are opinions that I have, I joined groups. I have a bunch of groups that I join, and it kind of fractures. I shouldn't say fracture. It divides I have a sports group, and I talk about sports in the sports group. I don't just blurt out sports stuff on my main page. I have a group where I'm into nerd stuff, and so they're all my nerd stuff. That's what I talk on that group about. And you see what I mean. It's almost like the little forums or message boards or whatever, where you can just post stuff and comment on stuff. And I would say the two most hostile ones, obviously the sports, because you're gonna hate me. Probably not, but you might. Probably not. I'm a Cowboys fan, and either you love the Cowboys or you hate the Cowboys, I'm noticing. So 50-50, or I think there's a lot of Cowboys fans, so it's maybe 55-45. Look at me doing maths. But my other groups are I'm into cars. I have specific car groups. I used to have a Corvette until I sold it like a dummy. So I'm in a Corvette group. Maybe one day my wife will let me buy another Corvette. But I have a BMW now, and so I'm in the BMW group. I tell you what, the Corvette group's a little bit more harsh than the BMW group. BMW groups we have a little running joke that we tell, but that's about it. The Corvette group, on the other hand, oh my gosh, they're a little pretentious. Look at me using $5 words. Back to That's not the video. Shit. Sucking at this.
Communities. Because what our stupid brains don't realize is that we are actually all on the same team. Humanity, on a wet rock speeding through space in a universe that doesn't
Preach.
think about us. We are all in this together. But until our brains adjust to being able to deal with that, we might be better off being a tiny bit separated.
No, poor
One of the worst things about the media we consume is that most news organizations
this is an advertisement. I think we're done with the video, guys. We are. Hey, we are done with the video. Hey, I thank you guys for stopping by the videos. I'm just joking. We're going to talk a little bit. So social media, is it ruining what, our lives? I hear a bunch of yays. So this video is basically saying nay. It's us that are ruining our lives. I tend to agree with the video. These guys are smart. Well, is YouTube a form of social media? I think it is. Don't stop watching YouTube. Watch my video, like, share, subscribe. Do those things. Let me know what y'all want to see in the comments. So, another video I can react to. Because guess what? This is my second video in like 2 days. Guess what? I'm getting back in the swing of things. I'm going to get better. My presentation is going to be better. I might even turn some lights off in here so I can have that nice ambient glow. And, I got stuff in the back, and I'll redecorate some more. Anyways, I love you guys, and please keep watching my videos, because I want to one day afford to buy another Corvette. Bye.